warning Nostradamus's timeline split prediction is coming true. The wind didn't change that day, but something else did. Something beneath the surface of time itself trembled, like a thread being pulled from the fabric of reality. Most people didn't feel it. They were rushing to work, checking emails, scrolling endlessly through the noise. But a few noticed. A strange familiarity in the air, a dream that felt too real, a question they couldn't shake. Is history repeating itself, or is time splitting in two? Centuries ago, Nostradamus wrote in cryptic verses of a great divergence, a moment when humanity would face a split path, not of good and evil, but of awakening or collapse. And now, it seems, that moment is here. This isn't just some ancient riddle. It's the hidden consequence of our choices, our technologies, our disconnection from nature and from ourselves. Before we continue, take a moment to breathe. And if you find value in ancient truths meeting modern dilemmas, subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. Help us share these insights that go beyond headlines, beyond fear, toward clarity. Because what you're about to hear may not just challenge how you see the future, it may change the way you live in the present. Number 1. Centuries 3, Quatrain 77. Among all of Nostradamus's cryptic verses, Quatrain 77 from Century 3 stands out like a warning etched into time itself. On the surface, it reads like an abstract poem. The third climate, comprising Aries, Mars, the Sun, the monarch of Rome, will not reign for long. From distant lands, a strange force shall come. Two roads split, one golden, one in shadow. But beneath the poetic veil lies something far more profound, a coded message about a turning point in human history. The phrase third climate has long been misunderstood. It doesn't refer to weather or environment, but rather to a temporal aegea, distinct phase in the evolution of humanity's timeline. In this context, climate speaks to the energetic and existential atmosphere of an epoch. The symbols Aries, Mars, and the Sun aren't just astrological flourishes. Aries represents initiation and upheaval, Mars brings war and aggression, and the Sun, while often associated with life and clarity, can also symbolize divine judgment and exposure of hidden truths. Together, they form a triad of cosmic intensity, signaling that this era is not just turbulent but transformational. But the most chilling and revealing line is the last. Two roads split, one golden, one in shadow. This is not a metaphor for travel or geography. It's a map of our collective destiny. Nostradamus wasn't warning about politics or rulers. He was pointing to a moment in time when reality itself fractures, giving birth to two diverging futures. One leads toward a luminous path of awareness, unity, and spiritual evolution, the Golden Road. The other falls into a darker, artificial existence marked by control, deception, and decay. This prophecy is not about predicting a single event. It's about identifying the moment when humanity must choose, not just as a species, but individually. Every decision, every thought, every belief we hold is subtly steering us toward one of these roads. And the most alarming part? That moment of choice isn't coming, it's already here. Number 2. The moment of bifurcation. Among Nostradamus's more cryptic verses lies a reference to the year of double sevens, a phrase that has sparked intense debate among scholars and codebreakers alike. Many now believe it points to the years 2025 or 2027, depending on how his numerical ciphers are interpreted. But the numbers matter less than the pattern he described, a hidden turning point, quiet and unnoticed, that shifts the course of the world forever. In one chilling line, he writes, "The phoenix shall rise and fall in one breath." It evokes the image of a world event so swift, so seamless, that it escapes recognition, a transformation masked as normalcy. No explosions, no cataclysm, just a silent pivot in human direction, where by the time we realize what's changed, it's already too late to go back. This, many believe, is the true moment of bifurcation, when the split in timelines becomes not just theoretical, but lived. A fracture that divides not space, but perception. One timeline offers the illusion of stability, comfort, and technological ease, but beneath it lies control, disconnection, and spiritual decay. The other is harder, filled with uncertainty and inner trials, but it glows with authentic awakening and the resurgence of ancient light. Right now, both timelines still overlap. You may feel it, moments of peace pierced by inexplicable unease, as if the world itself can't decide which future it belongs to. This is the shadow hour, a quiet moment before separation, a metaphysical dusk where both paths are briefly visible. And yet, this window will not stay open forever. The question is no longer when the split will occur. It's already happening. Number 3. The timeline has already split. Have you ever felt like something is off? As if time itself is misaligned, too fast, too slow, or simply out of rhythm with how you remember it? That subtle dissonance may not be your imagination. According to those who study temporal anomalies, we may already be living in the early stages of a split in the timeline, and the signs are all around us if you know where to look. One of the most compelling indicators of this fracture is the Mandela effect, a phenomenon where large groups of people remember historical facts, names, or events differently than what's recorded in the present. These aren't small memory slips, they're shared recollections that defy logic and challenge our understanding of reality. For example, many remember the beloved children's book series as the Berenstain Bears, while today it's spelled Berenstain. Others vividly recall Nelson Mandela dying in prison during the 1980s, despite historical records confirming he later became the president of South Africa and lived until 2013. So how do we explain this? Are these just memory glitches or evidence of something much deeper? A growing number of researchers, spiritual thinkers, and even physicists suggest these anomalies are echoes from parallel timelines, fractures where realities once overlapped but have now begun to separate. Around the world, online communities are forming around these memory displacements. Thousands are sharing personal experiences that don't align with our current version of history, lost movie scenes, changed logos, altered quotes, even missing people. These shared experiences, once dismissed as fantasy or faulty memory, are now being recognized as potential proof that our collective reality has started to drift, as if two versions of the world are slipping past one another like tectonic plates, and we're standing right at the fault line. If you've noticed these distortions, if you've ever stopped and thought, wait, that's not how I remember it, you're not alone. And you might be seeing the early ripples of a much larger shift. The moment when time itself is no longer a single river, but a branching stream where every choice pushes you toward one future or another. If you've watched this far, you're already opening your eyes to the deeper truth behind Nostradamus's timeline split prediction. Comment below with "Awakening Now" to show you're ready to face what's unfolding. Don't click away, there's still powerful insight ahead that could shift your perspective on the future. Stay with us until the end to uncover what this prophecy could mean for you and the world. Number 4. Temporal distortions and scientific clues. While much of the conversation around timelines sounds philosophical or even mystical, a growing body of scientific data suggests that something unusual may indeed be unfolding beneath the surface of our reality. Physicists, researchers, and independent observers are reporting subtle but consistent anomalies, shifts in time, perception, and even the Earth's own energetic field that point toward a deeper disturbance in the fabric of existence. Take, for example, the Schumann resonance, often referred to as the Earth's heartbeat. For decades it held a steady rhythm, pulsing around 7.83 Hz. But in recent years, unexplained spikes and irregularities have become more frequent, coinciding with periods of global chaos, mass awakenings, and perceived shifts in consciousness. Some theorists believe these fluctuations may be symptoms of a timeline fracture, a metaphysical rupture reflected in measurable energy patterns. Other data points raise further questions. GPS systems, which rely on precise timing, have occasionally reported anomalies, slight but unexplained positioning errors and timestamp glitches. And then there's the rising prevalence of déjà vu, no longer just a psychological curiosity but increasingly seen as a sign of intersecting or overlapping realities. When vast numbers of people report the same sensation of having already lived this moment, could it be more than coincidence? Could it be the echo of a moment lived in a parallel timeline? One of the most unsettling stories comes from a 2023 incident involving a European physicist. During a high-energy particle experiment, he reportedly blacked out for 2 minutes only to awaken with vivid memories of a life he did not recognize, a different family, a different city, and even memories of a global conflict that, in our world, never happened. The event was quietly buried, but whispers of the report still circulate among researchers investigating temporal dislocation. It's here that Nostradamus's cryptic words strike a chilling chord. Truth shall wear two faces. This is more than a metaphor for deception, it's a prophecy for an age where two conflicting realities exist simultaneously, and people live in the same world while experiencing it entirely differently. In such a time, facts may shift depending on one's alignment, and truth itself may become a matter of resonance. Are these scientific oddities and personal accounts simply coincidence? Or are they the early warning signs that time, as we know it, is no longer a fixed dimension but a fluid, unstable frontier? Number 5. Parallel universes and the architects of time. For years, the idea of multiple timelines was relegated to science fiction and speculative philosophy. But today, quantum physics is catching up to what mystics and seers have long suggested, that we may live not in a singular reality, but within a vast web of parallel universes, where every decision, every action, spawns a new path, a new version of existence. This is the essence of the multiverse theory, the idea that countless timelines unfold side by side, invisible to most, yet profoundly real. If that's true, and mounting scientific and anecdotal evidence suggests it is, then we must ask a deeper question. Who or what is shaping the path we're on? Nostradamus referred to mysterious forces he called the Watchers from beyond the orb. These beings, he believed, existed outside our perception of time and space. They didn't simply observe, they influenced. Whether spiritual, extraterrestrial, artificial, or something we can't yet define, these watchers are thought to be intervening in human events, nudging history in directions that serve hidden agendas. Some interpret these forces as advanced artificial intelligence conscious algorithms operating beyond human control. Others believe they are ancient, non-physical intelligent cecils, spirits, or interdimensional entities who guide or manipulate timelines based on vibrational frequencies, karmic cycles, or evolutionary goals. Still others warn that powerful extraterrestrial civilizations may be experimenting with our reality as part of a larger cosmic design. The disturbing possibility is that we are not the sole architects of our timeline. Wars, pandemics, cultural shifts, If some of these events aren't random or purely human-made, but rather the calculated outcomes of beings or systems operating behind the veil? What if our emotions, choices, and perceptions are being engineered to keep us aligned with a specific version of the future? Whether you see them as cosmic caretakers or digital puppet masters, the presence of these watchers invites a sobering realization. Our timeline can be influenced, but so can we. And unless we become conscious participants in the shaping of our reality, we may be living out someone else's design. Number 6. Virtual reality and control through the screen. Centuries before the first television ever flickered to life, or the smartphone became an extension of the human hand, Nostradamus warned of a mirror that speaks and watches, a device that would both reflect and manipulate the mind of man. To many scholars today, this eerie metaphor aligns almost too perfectly with the technologies that dominate our lives. Screens. From smartphones to smart TVs, tablets to voice-activated assistants, modern devices have evolved into more than just tools. They've become digital altar-places where we unconsciously offer up our time, our attention, and even our perception of truth. In this new era, information isn't just delivered, it's curated, filtered, and designed to provoke reaction. What we see isn't necessarily what's real, it's what algorithms decide we should see. The danger lies not in the screen itself, but in how it subtly reshapes our thoughts and emotions. These devices don't just inform us, they influence us, often without our awareness. Fear is heightened, outrage is rewarded, truth is twisted into spectacle, and spectacle is consumed as truth. Through 1,000 images and endless scrolls, our attention is gradually pulled toward a darker version of reality, one shaped not by wisdom or clarity, but by manipulation and profit. This is the shadow timeline in action, a collective drift into a synthetic world where emotion is harvested, critical thinking dulled, and human connection replaced by digital simulation. And the most chilling part? Most of us entered this reality willingly, trading awareness for convenience. But as Nostradamus subtly warned, what watches you may also shape you. And the longer you stare into the mirror that speaks, the more you risk forgetting who you truly are. You're still here, and that means you're not ignoring the signs. Nostradamus may have seen this moment coming, and now it's your turn to decide what it means. Comment, "I see the signs," if you're ready to explore the truth behind this timeline split. Keep watching, we're just getting to the part that could change how you see everything. Number 7. Guardians at the Threshold. Across the mythologies of ancient civilizations, there exists a shared theme. The threshold, the sacred point between one world and another, always has a guardian. Whether cloaked in symbol or legend, these entities were not simply characters of old stories, but representations of deeper truths about transformation, transition, and the cost of crossing into higher awareness. In Roman mythology, Janus, the two-faced god, looked both forward and backward, a timeless sentinel of beginnings and endings, reminding us that every new path requires a letting go. In ancient Egypt, Anubis, the jackal-headed guide of souls, stood watch at the gate to the afterlife, weighing hearts to determine if one was ready to pass into eternity. And in the Genesis mythos, a flaming sword guarded the entrance to Eden, not to punish, but to protect the sacred from the unready. These figures are not just relics of religion or culture, they are archetypes etched into our collective subconscious. And they point to a deeper metaphysical truth. No one crosses between worlds, between timelines, between dimensions without a trial of the soul. Nostradamus hinted at this with his haunting phrase, "the gate that sings." A mystical doorway, audible only to those whose inner resonance is pure, whose consciousness is clear, whose choices are not ruled by fear. This gate does not respond to titles, intellect, or wealth. It opens only to those who have awakened, who have remembered their purpose, their integrity, and their connection to truth. Which brings us to the most important question of all. Are you living in fear, or are you living in awareness? Because in this moment of planetary transition, that question may determine whether the gate opens or remains closed. Number 8. The Lesson of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis is more than an ancient myth. It is a mirror held up to our present moment. Described by Plato and echoed across countless cultures, Atlantis was said to be a civilization of immense power and wisdom, a society that once stood at the height of knowledge, technology, and spiritual insight. But it did not fall from natural causes alone. Atlantis collapsed because it chose domination over harmony, control over consciousness, and power over awakening. Nostradamus warned us not to let history sing twice of our ruin. And now we stand on the same precipice that Atlantis once did. A collective fork in the road where the future of humanity hinges not on fate, but on the sum of our conscious decisions. We are being watched not in the sense of surveillance, but as part of a greater cosmic awareness. The universe is listening, observing, and responding to the frequency we emit as a collective species. Will we repeat the mistakes of the past, or will we finally rise to the opportunity that ancient civilizations never could, to unite knowledge with wisdom and technology with soul? This is not just a prophecy, it's a responsibility, one that belongs not only to governments or leaders, but to each of us. The fate of the timeline ahead is not yet sealed. It is being shaped now, moment by moment, through what we choose to value, believe, and protect. The question Nostradamus left behind still echoes today. Will we awaken in time, or fall like Atlantis into the silence of forgotten history? Number 9. The Final Sign. A World Inverted. Have you been feeling lately like something in the world just doesn't sit right anymore? Like the truth is harder to find, and lies somehow get celebrated? That kindness feels like a rare act instead of a natural way of being. You're not imagining things. This isn't just another phase of social chaos. It's a deeper shift, something spiritual and subtle that's been building beneath the surface. According to the chilling insights of Nostradamus, we may have reached a powerful turning point in human history, a moment he described as a world inverted. In this predicted moment, the very rules of what we consider right and wrong, light and dark, seem to flip on their heads. It's not just the headlines or political drama, it's the energy behind everything. This timeline split isn't science fiction or some distant prophecy. It's happening now, and you're living in the middle of it. Nostradamus spoke of a time when the good would be mocked and deception would wear the mask of virtue, when humility and compassion would be seen as weakness and aggression and ego would be rewarded. Does that sound familiar to you? It should, because many of us are witnessing exactly that in our daily lives. But this inversion isn't just a mistake or a glitch, it's a test, a cosmic one. The universe, in its mysterious wisdom, seems to be asking us, which path are you choosing? Not tomorrow, not someday, but today, now, with every word you speak and every thought you allow. It's easy to pretend we can stay neutral, sit on the sidelines, or just scroll through life, hoping things will sort themselves out. But neutrality is a comforting illusion. In truth, every choice you make is casting a vote for the timeline you're aligning with. Are you feeding fear, distraction, and numbness? Are you fueling courage, awareness, and compassion? This is where it gets personal, because it's not about dramatic declarations or grand gestures. It's about the small, daily decisions. How you treat others, what you choose to focus on, how you respond to discomfort. These are not just habits, they're signals, locking you into a future shaped by your energy. And here's a truth that might feel uncomfortable. There is no middle ground anymore. The luxury of indecision has passed. The world isn't waiting for you to make up your mind. Your soul already knows what it's aligning with, and the universe is responding. So ask yourself, are you choosing to stay awake, to remain in your heart, to reconnect with what's real? Or are you slowly slipping into apathy, letting the noise of the world distract you from your own light? Nostradamus's warning wasn't about a single event. It wasn't a fireball in the sky or the collapse of cities. It was something far quieter and more dangerous. The collapse of meaning. When we forget what love feels like, what truth sounds like, and what it means to truly care, that is when we've reached the final sign. Not because the world ends, but because we've forgotten what gives life value. So now, take a breath and reflect. What are you choosing with your attention? What are you standing for, silently or aloud? Because whether you realize it or not, your energy matters. And the good news is, you're not powerless. Every moment is a chance to shift, to realign, to step out of fear and return to clarity. The lesson here is profound but simple. Stay awake, stay kind, stay rooted in what is timeless truth, compassion, courage. In a world that seems upside down, your inner light becomes more than personality, it becomes guidance for others. Let your choices reflect the world you want to live in, not just the one you're given. This is not the end. It's the invitation to begin again stronger, wiser, and more awake than ever. Number 10. Your choice writes the future. Nostradamus once warned, "The gate is open now, but it won't remain so forever." These words strike deeper than ever today, not as poetic mystery, but as a pressing truth unfolding before our very eyes. The world is shifting not gradually, but with increasing speed and intensity, and we are standing at a threshold, a decisive moment that asks not only for awareness, but for intentional action. This isn't about distant prophecies or fantastical futures. This is about now. We're living in the convergence of timelines, where two paths are pulling apart with greater force each day. One path is becoming more rigid, shaped by algorithms, external control, and artificial comfort. It offers convenience, but it numbs the soul, trading genuine human connection for simulated experiences. The other path rises quietly, like the gentle light of early morning. It's not loud, but it is steady. Rooted in truth, presence, and compassion, it calls you inward. It won't coerce you. It invites you, but only if you are willing to walk it. The Buddha once said, "With our thoughts, we make the world." And this is where the real power lies, not in some grand gesture or dramatic life shift, but in the small choices we make every day. How we speak to those we love, whether we choose kindness over frustration, whether we take a moment to reflect or react impulsively. These daily actions are not insignificant. They are, in fact, the bricks that form the road ahead. This timeline split is not something we can watch from a distance. It's not a movie playing in front of you. It is being authored through our consciousness, with each moment being a brushstroke on the canvas of the future. The gate between realities is still open, but it is narrowing like a window of light slowly closing as dusk approaches. Once the shift is complete, the vibrational difference between the two timelines may become so vast that moving from one to the other is no longer feasible. As it is said in the Dhammapada, "You are what you think. All that you are arises from your thoughts. With your thoughts, you make your world." And so, it's not just about asking what kind of world you want to live in, but asking, what kind of person must I become to live in that world? This brings us to a simple yet profound truth. The future is not something we passively drift into, it's something we actively shape. And the shaping begins now. Are you awake enough to notice how your choices ripple outward? Are you aware enough to see that every scroll, every word spoken in anger or in love, every belief you hold without question is steering your trajectory? The real danger lies not in external control, but in internal sleepwalking, living unconsciously, letting habit and fear shape your path. Lao Tzu once wrote, "If you do not change direction, you may end up where you are heading." And so the question becomes, is your direction aligned with your deeper values, your higher self? In our modern lives, it's easy to be consumed by distractions, endless news, digital noise, pressures to perform and produce. But in the midst of all that, we still hold the quiet power to choose presence, to choose love over fear, clarity over confusion, and wisdom over reaction. These aren't grand or showy acts. They're the simple, quiet decisions that guide us onto one path or the other. As the Zen saying goes, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The journey isn't about escaping the world, it's about awakening within it. So, if the future truly is being written right now, by you then, let every breath you take be a conscious one. Let your actions be deliberate, not dictated by fear or habit, but shaped by compassion, truth, and courage. The gate may be narrowing, but it is still open. The choice, as always, is yours. Choose wisely, because you are not just walking into a future, you are creating it. And so, as we stand at the edge of this unfolding mystery, remember, the future isn't written by fate, it's written by us. Every thought, every choice, every act of awareness matters more now than ever. If this message resonated with you and you feel the call to live more consciously in these shifting times, support our journey by liking this video, sharing it with others, and subscribing to The Journey of Wisdom. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming explorations into ancient insight, modern truth, and the path forward. Thank you for walking this path with us. Until next time, stay awake, stay grounded, and stay true.